Have you ever used Google Map on a smartphone? Wait, this is not a trailing video. In this video, we will discuss the use of G0, G01, G02 and G03 by taking simple example of Google Map. Hey guys, hope you're doing fine. Welcome to another episode of CNC Talks. My name is Aman and in this video, we will discuss the use of these basic codes in a CNC machine. So watch this video till the very end and let's roll. So now, first of all, let's divide our space in two parts. So on the left side shows the interface of Google Map, while the right side shows the interface of our CNC. Now let's see how a Google Map works. So in a Google Map, the first thing we need is a starting point. So let's suppose this A point is my starting point, or we can say this is my current location. Similarly, in our CNC, let's suppose point A is the current position of our tool. It means our tool is currently at point A. Now the second thing we need to choose is our destination point, or the point where we want to reach. So in this case, let's suppose point B is our destination point. So we need to move from point A to point B. Similarly, in CNC, let's suppose a point B, which is the destination point, and we need to move our tool from point A to point B. So after entering the initial and the final position, what Google Map shows us is different number of paths we can use to reach from point A to point B. So let's suppose there are three different paths we can use to reach from point A to point B. So let's suppose first path is a straight line. This is path number 1. The second path is in clockwise direction from point A to B, and the third path is anti-clockwise from point A to point B. Similarly, in the case of CNC, we can move our tool either straight from A to B, or in clockwise from A to B, or in anti-clockwise from point A to point B. So in the first case, let's suppose I choose a car to travel from point A to point B. In this case, our speed should be restricted. It means we need to travel from point A to point B in a controlled speed, which means like 50 km per hour or 60 km per hour. The point is our speed should be defined. So similarly, on our CNC, if we need to move our tool from point A to point B along a straight line, we can use G01. And also, while using G01, we need to give the value of feed rate. So if I give f.2, so in this case our tool will move from point A to point B following the straight line path number 1 and move with the feed rate of 0.2. So the main point is, while using G01, our tool will move from point A to point B in a straight line with the given feed rate in a controlled manner. Now in the second case, let's suppose I'm in extreme hurry and I took a plane to move from point A to point B. So in this case, there is no speed restriction. It means we can move from point A to point B as fast as we can. So similarly, in case of CNC, if we use G0 to move our tool from point A to point B, our tool will move with the fastest possible feed rate from point A to point B. Also, in this case, while using G0, we cannot define the feed rate like G01. In this case, the machine will move our tool with its fastest speed possible from point A to point B. So this is the major difference between G01 and G0. In G01 we can use a feed rate to move a tool in a straight line from one point to another, while in G0 we cannot control its speed, since our machine will automatically choose the fastest speed possible to move from point A to point B. So with G0 or G01 we can travel straight distances, but to travel in clockwise direction or in anti-clockwise direction we can use G02 or G03. These codes are exactly similar to G01. Like G01, we can use feed rates in both the cases. We'll use G02 for part 2 to travel from point A to B in clockwise direction, while we'll use G03 to travel from point A to point B in anti-clockwise direction. And also, while using G02 or G03, we need to define the feed rate and also the radius of the arc. Let's suppose R10. Similarly, in G03, we need to define the feed rate and the value of the radius. In a CNC turning, a tool turret is basically a body which holds all of our tools. So let us suppose this is our chuck and this is our workpiece, and this is our tool turret, and it contains 4 different type of tools, which is tool number 1, tool number 2, tool number 3 and tool number 4. So whenever we'll call a tool like T04, our tool turret will rotate and bring the required tool to the front. So if I call tool number 4, it will rotate and bring our tool to the front. So this is how a tool turret works in a CNC turning. So finally, we're going to use all of our codes in a CNC turning program. So let's suppose this is a part we need to make in a CNC turning. Now let's make a program of this part. Let's start our program with a program number 01234 followed by G28, the home position code. After that, we'll use G97, S500 and M03. As we all know, we'll use G97 for constant RPM of 500 and M03 to start the spindle in clockwise direction. So since our tool is in tool turret and there is a huge gap between our workpiece and our tool, now the first thing we need to do is to call our tool from our tool turret to anywhere near the workpiece. Since there is a huge gap between our tool turret and our workpiece, we can use G0 for rapidly calling our tool from our tool turret to anywhere near the workpiece. Also, since this is our origin, so we'll use G0, X50 and Z1. So our tool will reach to X50 Z1 rapidly. So this is 40, so around here this is X50 and Z1. So our tool will rapidly jump to this position. After that, we can again use G0, X20, Z1 to call a tool furthermore closer. So X20, which is here, and Z1 approximately here. So our tool jump directly to this position. Now this is the point after which our cutting will start. So after here we can use G01 from this position to this point. Since the distance in Z axis is 10 mm, so we'll give G01, X20, Z minus 10 with a feed rate of 0.2. So suppose this is 0.1, this is 0.2, this is 0.3 and this is 0.4. Now our tool is at 0.1 and I'll give G01 x20 z minus 10. x20 is the same while z minus 1 is at this point. So our tool will move from 0.1 to 0.2 slowly with the feed rate of 0.2. Now after 0.2 to 3, you can see there is an arc of radius 20. So since the arc is in clockwise, we can use G02. So here G02 and the coordinates of 0.3. So at 0.3 our x value is 40 and z value is 20. So G02 x40 z minus 20 and also with a feed rate of 0.2. Now our tool will move from 0.2 to 0.3 in a clockwise direction slowly with a feed rate of 0.2, and at last from 0.3 to 4 there is straight line, so we can use G01. At 0.4 x is 40 and z is 30. So G01 x40 z minus 30 and also the feed rate of 0.1. So our tool will reach from 0.3 to 0.4 slowly with a feed rate of 0.2 mm per minute. So that was all from my side today. If you're new to my channel, do subscribe and please like and share this video if you find this informative. You can also send me your queries on Instagram and Facebook at @CNC Talks and press the bell icon to get the instant notification. Thanks a lot.